All right, so let's go ahead and let's look at this Wednesday night matchup between the Minnesota Timberwolves and the Denver Nuggets. This game will be played at 10 p.m. East Coast time. All right, the line opened up at over under 213, Denver -6. The line has since moved to over under 213 and a half, Denver -5. All right, so when you're looking at these two teams in the injury report right now, you of course Carl Anthony Towns still out. All right, Jalen Clark still out for Minnesota. And then when you're talking about Denver, you're looking at Aaron Gordon's questionable. All right, Gordon has been absent the previous two matchups with a right foot strain, and it's unknown if he'll take the court against the Timberwolves tonight. And of course, Cancor is still out with that torn ACL. All right, so looking at these two teams, you're talking about Minnesota Timberwolves team who's been in great shape as they've won 8 of their last 10 games overall, and they'll be aiming for a third straight win after beating the Wizards 130 to 121 last night. All right, whereas the Nuggets have been in fine form as well. They've won 8 of their last 11 games overall, and they will be gunning for a third straight victory after blowing past the lowly Jazz and cashing for us last night in a 111 to 95 road win. All right, so let's go ahead and let's take a look at this. All right, when you're looking at Denver and you're looking at Minnesota, you're talking about two teams, all right, that in the last 10 times they played each other, because this is a playoff matchup. Let me remind you, this right here, this what y'all are finna see tonight is going to be playoff style basketball. Okay, at least that's what I'm expecting to see. And the main reason for that is because when you look over in the Western Conference right now, the number 1 seed is the Denver Nuggets, and the number 2 seed is the Minnesota Timberwolves, and they're only half a game back right now. All right, so this game is make or break to see who's actually going to win this Western Conference, man. And you know, Denver does want to have home court advantage throughout the playoffs. So this, like I said, this is a very important game. I anticipate Monkey D. All right, I'm saying right up in your face, up on you, on both ends of the court. This is going to be a great game. So like I said, head to head, last 10 games. All right, Denver does run this series 6-4 straight up. All right, against the spread though, it's the inverse. The Timberwolves are running the series 6-4 against the spread. And if you look over unders, it's been 5 to the over, 3 to the under, and 2 pushes. All right, these two teams have played multiple times this year. They played 3 times. They played, and it's been Minnesota, Denver, Minnesota. When they last played March 29th, Minnesota won 111 to 98. Minnesota was getting 3 points in that game, and it went under the 209 and a half. All right, so far this season they've seen 2 unders and 1 over. The lone over was in Minnesota, however. You know what I mean? And so when you're looking at these two teams and you're thinking about exactly how they play in these situations, as a home favorite, Denver is 19-19-1 against the spread. They do not cover, guys. Like, they just don't. That's just not what they do. It's not important to them. Okay, but this game right here is going to be important to them, man. Promise. Trust me. This game's going to be important to them. Now, in the inverse, when you're looking at Minnesota against the spread as a road underdog, they're 8-8. So they don't play good as a road underdog. They're not used, like, they've been only a road underdog 16 times all season long. They've only been an underdog a total of 20 times this season. So they've been in this situation, but it's not like they are the most successful team in this situation. And when you look over-unders in this situation, as a home favorite, Denver games go 17 to the over and 22 to the under, whereas Minnesota, as an away underdog, okay, they go 9 to the over and 7 to the under. So once again, I'm going to call out a trend for you guys. When you see a team that, if they're against the spread, is not what you would anticipate it to be, or what you would think it would be in the current situation. You look over at the over-under and you see that, oh, how what the over-under looks like in that situation. If this is a team that plays defense, or supposed to be a team that plays defense, then and they're looking 9 to the over, 7 to the under, that means that they are controlled. And when they're in this situation, they're controlled by the team that they're playing against. Whatever the flow of that team is, that's the flow of the game, and that's what it's going to be. All right. Now, when we look at these two teams in the last 10 games that they've played overall, right? Minnesota is 8-2 straight up, so they aren't a heater. They're 5-5 against the spread, and 5 to the over, 5 to the under. All right. Now they're 8-2, playing against teams like Washington, Toronto, Houston, Detroit. They caught Golden State slipping, Chicago. Yeah, they've been playing some decent teams, but like still not the best. They did play Denver back, like I said, on the 29th, and they won that game, and they covered that game. Okay, now when you look at Denver in their last 10 games, Denver's 7-3 straight up, 5-5 against the spread, and 5-5 to the over/under. So they've been playing just middle of the pack ball, trying to win games. Hence why you see 7-3 straight up. Okay. Remember, Denver is also one of the best teams in the NBA when you're talking about just home records. When their home record is straight up, it's 32-8, man. Okay, like you gotta understand the situation and know what's going on out here on the court, man. Now, last three games, Minnesota's averaging 114.7 points per game, giving up 111.7 points per game. Whereas Denver's averaging 117.7 points per game and giving up 102.3 points per game. All right, so they're winning by an average of 15.3 points in these last three games. But remember, them last three games were against teams like Utah, Atlanta, and the Clippers. So I'll give you that with the Clippers, and Atlanta's been playing some decent ball. But Utah last night, yeah, it is what it is. But let's get on to the next portion. So let's look at these two teams overall. You're talking about Minnesota team's got the number 18th offense in the NBA, but they're coming up against Denver's number 6th overall defense in the NBA. And Denver's got the number 14 offense in the NBA, and then versus Minnesota's number 1 overall defense in the NBA, you guys. I think that's something that you guys should definitely be understanding right now, is why I'm telling you this is going to be a defensive game. Why I'm telling you that there's going to be a high intensity in this game. Why I'm telling you that this is a playoff environment, all right? Which is why I'm leaning the way I'm leaning. When I'm looking at these two teams, all right, you got the Timberwolves won each of their last 5 games as underdogs against opponents who are on the second leg of a back-to-back. The Timberwolves have covered the spread in each of their last 7 games as underdogs against opponents who are on the second leg of a back-to-back. And each of the Timberwolves' last 5 games as underdogs following a home win have gone under the total points. Whereas Denver, the Nuggets have won 12 of their last 13 games with both teams on the second leg of a back-to-back. The Nuggets have failed to cover the spread in each of their last 6 games against Western Conference opponents that held a winning record. And each of the Nuggets' last 8 Wednesday games have gone under the total points. Plus, this is a revenge game. They just lost within their last 10 games to this team. All right? So, I can only tell you what I put my money on, man. And in this game, I jumped on the under. I jumped on it last night. Okay? I believe that's deadbolt. I think there's nothing that's going to stop that because of the fact that these two teams are going to come in focused, ready to play some playoff basketball, regardless of coming off of back-to-backs and all of that stuff there. And plus, Denver is going to have they're gonna have revenge on their mind, man. They did just lose to this team back in March. Not that long ago. This was within their last 10 games. So I would definitely rock with the under. If I was playing the spread, though, I would probably have to take the points with the Timberwolves just because of the fact that the Timberwolves, even though they have not covered consistently in this situation, and the Nuggets, both of them are playing for something. I mean, this is a playoff game. I believe that's why this spread is the way the spread is, because they're putting it as if it was a playoff game, you guys. But I don't know, man. Y'all let me know what y'all think.